Now, welcome. It's Saturday morning. This is the Art of Rock. And already my phone is being strange and everything's being strange, but that's how we do it. And I don't know what a day would be like where technology actually works. That would be a weird day. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Tongva people for surviving. And I'd like to acknowledge that I am sitting on Tongva land here in Los Angeles, California. Every Saturday, almost every Saturday, we are Art of Rocking. I think that's the way you say it. Here on Angelspit's Twitch, also on Angelspit's YouTube, but Twitch seems to be where we hang. Made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody who follows that. I put another really important post up there this morning. Have a look. It's important. Kickstarting Now is the 12th album, Red End. I'm happy with this one, and I think you will be too. I've got an update on that. There's a playlist of really cool music that I want you to check out. That's on Spotify. There's a lot of bands you know about, a lot of bands you don't know about. So let's get in there and support them. Wednesday nights, Vulture Culture does bloody synths. It's a really good place to be, and I'm currently wearing my Vulture Culture t-shirt. Booyah. Totally. So fucking jump on that shit. Razi, thank you for joining us always and being co-host and being the fucking booyah motherfucker.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here in the middle of a truck stop.
Yeah, dude. After this, we are going to be moseying on over to MTV TV because it's amazing. And there's a whole bunch of really cool music that you're going to find out. If you've got music and you want to get involved and you want them to play your awesome, awesome tracks, email them. They've also got a Patreon, so please follow their Patreon. It's bloody fantastic. Alex, tell me your ideas. You were talking about remixes and music and keys and stuff. Let's just start a conversation here.
Yeah, suppose you're working on a remix and maybe some portions of the a cappella or the vocal track don't harmonize well with what you already have. And my question would be, how do you figure out what's going on harmonically and how do you make something that vibes well with that? Basically that.
I've got ideas on this. Does anybody else want to jump in? Razi, go.
One of the things that I really enjoy about doing remixes is taking the acapellas and reharmonizing anyway, which, the remix requester has to, and I don't do a lot of remixes. I'm saying that like, this is what I do all the time. It's been a while. So maybe it's a bad idea because nobody asks me to do remixes anymore. But joking aside, you get the acapellas. I'll listen to what key they're in just by ear and looking at the chords, and it's usually people aren't doing anything with a lot of really sophisticated key changes or strange excursions from the home key. So I haven't found anything terribly complicated, but I do, and I have successfully made mixes that I think people like, not only reharmonizing against the lead vocal that they provide, but retuning the vocal. And we're not trying to be transparent and subtle about Melodyne or Logic or whatever you're doing your pitch changes in, doing real artifacty vocoder style, hard quantized pitch changes for maybe just a spin on the melody, like something that the way that I heard it, or I think this would be nice if it really stuck to the minor mode that they're in without these little, instantaneous short-term key changes out of the key, or maybe just shifting the whole thing chromatically a little bit using the retune is a way in. But I'm never really afraid of at least posing the idea of really messing with the original chord progression, so reharmonizing pretty dramatically. And that could be just taking out the chord changes and pedaling a lot. It could be adding some real reharmonization so that it pushes the melody and really supports it. But yeah, that's one of the paths that I've had fun reworking stuff is more than just a remix in those cases, reinterpretation and reharmonization. So
Thank you. Rob, do you want to share thoughts?
Yeah, do you you're talking about vocals as well as like synth leads, Alex? What are you focused on?
Basically vocals.
Yeah, so how's your vocal range?
You mean like
Your baritone,
also
where
no
are you
no
at with vocals?
I'm one above bass, but I forgot what it's called.
So I think the trick is to find which octaves you're comfortable singing in with the most range and the most vocal power. So remember that you've got to project your voice, okay? So if you go high pitch and you don't have a lot of sound and energy coming out of your lungs, then it's going to reflect in the power and your range and the ability to maintain that with your vocal cords.
Okay, I think we have a slight misunderstanding. My question was regarding you have already a vocal track and you're writing music around it.
Oh, I see. So you
Yeah.
want to, yeah, okay. I was thinking more along the lines of when Razi was talking about a cappella, I was thinking more along the lines of finding a supporting vocal line at a different octave that you or your friends
Okay.
could support that creates a lot more musical color to the vocal line. So I do a little bit of both. So I'll record in a very low voice, my vocals, baritone, and then I'll also record a harmony at maybe 2 octaves higher where I've got sufficient range. And the reason why I do that is because it creates a lot more expression in the vocals. And then I can add layers of instruments over the top of those vocals to match, if that makes sense. Because you don't want to get into a frequency fight with your vocals and your instruments. You want to find a band notch for each instrument. And I'll hand over to Carl because he's got more experience with the instrument side.
All right, thanks. Actually, I was thinking that's having always that voice on top is always a really good idea. Thanks, Rob. I actually on side. No, excuse me. I love it when people add their own vocals. When people get up and shout in that chorus in a remix, I love it. I found that with a remix, the first thing I will try and do is find what drone it's in. Like, is there a drone? Because a lot of industrial music, you can drone your way through it. So what pedal, what drone note is that? And if you have software or something to map where it's going, building harmonies around it or making the bass line move or the chords move is a great thing. Nice trick is to, if the bass line moves, like goes into different chords, keep that for the end because that will really give everything a lift. Yeah, so if I've got an idea that doesn't work, that's happening with the vocals, that's difficult because then you've got to decide which is more important, the vocals or what you're doing. Yeah, sometimes, harmonic clashes are good. Sometimes they're not. So, yeah. Razi, what do you think?
I'm making some assumptions that we've got an a cappella track and not the whole thing to remix, first of all. And that's usually implies that we're making a club mix or a absolute reinterpretation of the track, as opposed to they handed you the multi-track session with the individual tracks or just the stems or something, in which case you do have most of the material to work with. And those kind of remixes, you depends on the relationship with this with the person asking for the mix. And I assume, Alex, that in this case you have been delivered the acapellas as opposed to you are delivering them. So with that in mind, I wanted to push this into it's about the relationship with the person who you're remixing a little bit, like knowing what they're looking for, knowing what they're expecting out of you, and maybe opening a dialogue to, hey, here's the first 8 bars. This is going to take me 6 months to work on, but if I do it this way, is it worth it? Is this a path we're looking to go down, or am I just totally off? And that can often be more than they wanted to be involved, but it can also often be good relationship with, making it worthwhile to put the time in. I've definitely asked for both. Like, I super want to be involved, and maybe we can jam back and forth, so to speak, and do it as a collaboration. Like, you've got the acapellas now. Give me some ideas, and maybe I can modify them or change them, or give you just the track outs of the vocals, so that you don't have to have the whole acapella stack as one stereo pair. I'll give you the backing vocal and leads as separate, because it can go that way. Like, you can definitely get into a new, I guess, creative process with somebody on that level. Yeah, it can be really rewarding, though, is what I'm saying, if you do open the door to asking questions and making it a dialogue or a musical collaboration, rather than just to remix. They'll send them back when they can, that kind of thing.
Thank you very much. Rob, what do you think?
Is it a remix that you've just got to do carte blanche the whole thing, or is it more of a collaboration? Because I get sent drum and guitar stems and ideas of vocals, and I have to put the vocals on them, or I've got to remix the song a little bit because it's too monotonous. For example, there's not enough chord changes throughout the song to make it interesting. Is there an intent for the remix, or are they just asking you to do a remix, Alex?
It's the latter. The latter.
And the guy you're remixing it for is a bit of a bastard, I've been told. He's quite a prick.
Exactly.
But I've been also told that bastard is totally okay with you mashing the shit out of his music. So get in there and mash the shit out of the music. Like, if the chord doesn't work, if you're not happy with the vocal, stick it through a vocoder so everything's in the one silent one note, or pitch correct the whole thing to be in the one note. Have fun with it. Like, really have fun with it. Like, almost treat this remix like it's a because that guy's a bastard. Treat it like it's an act of war. Treat it like you want to offend him. Because I know firsthand that guy needs to be offended. He likes getting offended. He's a sicko. So yeah.
I play with the BPM as well, Alex.
Yeah.
Already did. The vocals have like this metallic effect on them, but the harmonizer just doesn't work in like 3 or 4 bars. I don't know, and I haven't figured out what's the why it doesn't work. Why everything else goes well and grooves, and then come these 3 parts, and it's like it clashes, and I don't know why.
See, is it the notes that are clashing or the rhythms that are clashing?
I think it's the harmony of the vocoder. Man, I could just mute the
vocoder. My
vocoder.
vocoder or your vocoder?
Yours.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Take it out, and even like put a ramp on whatever's harmonizing with it, so it's kind of going up slowly, and not even chromatic, like it's sliding up. Like, there comes a time to pick up a sledgehammer and pummel the shit out of something. It sounds like, well, when you're ready, you'll get there. Have no mercy. Don't be afraid of fucking offending. Like, don't. And imagine a whole bunch of kids with fucking crazy dreads, wearing black, jumping around somewhere, going nuts, listening to this. Feed their hungry ghost, is what I reckon. Rob, your hand's still up.
Yeah, I was thinking, what about bit crunching the vocals, distorting them in a way that's different from the original, but you retain the original vocode? If you've got a mismatch in the pitch or maybe the chord, maybe you're going to have to resample it and correct it to match what you've already put together.
Yeah, actually, that's a fun idea. Like this part where it doesn't match, if it's a middle eight or a build up or a chorus or something, or this one little part in a verse, that might work really well. Take my vocoders out and add your own vocoders, and make it really obvious. Like these are my vocoders now. You know, something. You gotta fuck with it. See, music doesn't want to. The beast of music, it doesn't want to cooperate with you. It wants you got to whip that motherfucker. You got to beat it into submission. It's metal, and you need to forge it by dousing it into the fire, then banging it, then dousing it into the water, and shit like that. Brett, do you want to jump in?
Sure, I just had a suggestion that's helped me when, and not necessarily with, well, yeah, with vocals too, but one thing that I'll do that might be useful to you, if there is a part of that vocal track that you like, or maybe it's just a split second. What I'll do a lot of times is I'll grab those little bits that I like, and I'll just chain them together so that they complement what I'm recording instead of letting it be its own thing anymore. I'll just rip out the pieces of it that I like of it, string them together where I need them. Often it creates kind of like a stuttery sort of effect, but you can blend that, you know, with wave shaping and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I thought that might be helpful.
Thank you. I'm going to check this to the resonator.
It sounds like we're talking about a very isolated small part of the song and it's a specific song, and you do have a relationship with the bastard who created the track, so that's cool. And this is definitely the kind of thing that I had in mind. Like when you get to the part of the song, it sounds also to me like you have some curiosity about harmonically how this works and how it fits into your concept. And I love that moment. Like that for me is one of the top 5 reasons to bother enjoying remixing anyway. Like, don't be afraid to take it over to the piano or the guitar and just sound it out. You know, like, okay, if I'm in the chord that has the notes A, C, and E right now, is the vocal singing A, C, or E? Or is it accidental, like a half step away from those? And is that where the dissonance is? And do I want to preserve that dissonance? And do I want to lean into that dissonance? And those little things where you take it out of the vocal stems and your vocoder track and bring it over to something where you're just sounding out the notes and just listening to, traditional Western harmony key signatures aren't really the point here. I have to look it up every time personally. I don't I keep that stuff in my head and sound it out. And I like doing that by moving over to another instrument and just looking at the block chords on the piano or the open cowboy chords or bar chords on the guitar, and then adding the vocal note and listening to where that moves. And you learn a lot, and the opportunity to come up with some alternatives and ideas in that moment when it's off on the other instrument is really powerful.
Thank you very much. Just also, I think that when you say the word bastard, you got to mean it. So, bastard. Rob, can you show the class how it's done correctly, please?
You bastard!
That's how it's done correctly. So, Razi, I just want you to try again, please.
I'm really leaning into the Aussie bastard.
But honey, you've got a Chicago. There's a Chicagoan. There's a Boston accent back there.
I know. God,
that
so
could
hard.
Really bring some fire.
I'm between Worcester and Boston right now, so I mean it's really hard to get anything other than that.
I heard the hard. Say that again.
Bastard.
That's
It's okay.
Yes, that was right.
Fuck you all. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
There we go. That's what I want to hear. Can we just really quickly, Brett, can you give me a bastard, please? And I want you to represent your state.
All right. You fucking bastard.
That's quite good. That's quite good.
Yeah.
Did we just seriously lose Ivan? Ivan, give us that Wisconsin twang on bastard.
Oh, you bastard, don't you know?
There you go. That was kind of like Yuppie. Isn't it great the way that even when somebody from Wisconsin abuses you, you go, oh. It's so cute.
It's the Don't You Know that sold that one.
Yeah. So, Rob, I'm just going to throw it back to you. Just one more time for the greatest nation on earth.
Yeah, bastards!
Greatest nation on earth, incidentally, is Australia. Speaking of which, I did I've been really on a Gurge. Been playing a lot of the Gurge. Fuck, they're a good band.
So getting off topic, Carl, I'm going to ask Alex to take the lyrics of the song, speak the lyrics out at the pitch that you want it, and then modulate the crap out of that, and then do it in German.
That's a great idea. And while we're here, Alex, can I get a Deutsche Bastard?
Bastard.
Okay. Say it again, but say it like you're saying it to the guy that wrote that fucking track and he's a pain in the ass.
Bastard.
Okay. We got to work on this. I mean, like, and when you do it, you got to... is it just me that when I'm working on a track, it's like, oh, you bastard! You just want to wring its throat. I don't know. Is it just me with music?
I think I'm more like a hacker trying to break into a system than a, I don't know, hooligan.
Hooligan trying to break the system itself?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
What's
fair
the
enough.
German word for bastard?
Bastard.
Okay. Doing it in Deutsch is a great idea. Thanks, Rob. That's actually a really good one. And Alex, you've got always remember, Alex, the moment that broke Art of Rock is when you said, what was it? People fear the thing in the forest. I am the darkness in the forest. What was that quote? I wrote it down somewhere. Does anybody else remember that quote? That fucking moment?
Yeah, I totally remember it. I don't remember the words of it though. I remember the
It
delivery.
was something like, I don't think I'm the monster in the dark forest. I am the dark forest.
You are the dark forest. Yeah. And that's really powerful. You've got to remember that. You should write that out and put it on the wall. Because in that ethos of those words, there is music in there. There is an attitude of music in there, and there's the dark forest is inside you, and it's waiting to come out. And every now and then I hear it. It's like you've got to. I'm telling you, you got to pull that venom out of the snake, honey, and it's going to make some good music. Does anybody else want?
I am the darkness. I am the night. I am Batman.
Yeah. That's good. I kind of liked Alex's though, because Alex's was quite scary. I mean, even the bats in the forest itself. The forest is where the darkness grows and pulls its energy from. Maybe I'm getting off topic here, but yeah. And my point is that pull into that energy when you're doing your remix. Well, I mean, like, I'm goofing around with the word bastard and everything because I'm such a bastard. But that's when I'm hitting a song. I am hitting a fucking song. Like it is an assault on this thing, which is an assault on myself, which is an assault on the part of me that just wants to sit there and go, don't want to do this. And that is a thing in myself that I am constantly trying to overcome. And I get the feeling that a lot of people also have that thing in themselves that they're trying to overcome. And you got to figure out how to overcome it. I think does anyone want to jump in at this point? Alex, did you want to add anything? Okay, so I want to thank you all. That was, I hope that helped. And there's probably going to be another remix album. I want to thank you all because I've been bitching about how I'm kickstarting my fucking album and I have no songs from the next album. So I'm kickstarting. Album 12's done. This is Red End. It's done. Since something really bizarre has happened this week, and I have got 6 tracks for album 13, just like that. And that really rarely happens, but they just went pop. And they're all very kind of dance-orientated bass lines. I'm going, it's really fun because I could take this anywhere I want right now. And it's, yeah. it's been this really wonderful cosmic gift of bass lines and shit. And something I'm doing which is a little different is listening to the bass line, listening to what the bass line is saying. What's it saying? And therefore, what are the vocals on top of it saying? Therefore, what are the lyrics saying? And man, I've got pages and pages and pages and pages and pages of lyric ideas. I think I'm walking away from them just because it feels like it's anger that's just been sitting there for quite a long time. That yeah, where stuff's moving. Yeah, thank you, Jan. Everybody for the craziness that's going on in here in the chats and everything. So yeah, it's really weird. There's that part of your brain that at some random point it's just like pop, the ideas, all those solutions come out as music. So thank you, universe, or thank you, lizard brain, or whatever is that's doing it there. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about musically, about stuff?
I did something kind of cool this week.
I'd like to talk about the my experience with the music video making industry the other week.
Okay, can I? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tack in there. I really want to hear this, Rob, and I thank you. Brett just jumped in just a moment before you did, so I'm going to throw it to Brett. Then we're going to come back to you because I want to hear about your videos. Brett, what's boiling in the mind of the demon?
I have revived an old friend. I had my DX7 sitting up in the attic. I haven't listened to this thing in 20 years. I have used it as a sample trigger. I used it as literally used it to control soft synths for probably 10 years before it went into retirement and was replaced by the PC4. So last Start of Rock got me really thinking, and I decided to break it back out. And one, I remember DX7 from Art of Rock, and if you've got old gear, get that. That is unreal stuff. But the other nice thing about it is there's all these patches, all this crazy stuff, and upgrades and whatnot that are next to nothing to expand it. And so one of the things that I'm really enjoying is hearing that FM growl again. That is not something that is that I can make the PC4 do as easily. It's too nice. And the way it actually does distortion and whatnot is actually by layering those frequencies instead of, a distortion pedal. And so you actually get like internal clipping and everything like that. It does a reasonable job at emulating, synthesizing, I guess was a better word, some of the analog sounds of the time. But I actually just got it fully up and running last night. And well, yeah, that's what I'm doing after this.
Have you got into the software DX'd?
Yes.
There's over 1 million sounds in that library.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So that's part of where the sounds I've pulled from. So I've gotten DX'd or DX'd. I've also gotten a DX7 librarian, which allows you to audition on the fly before you write your banks. The other thing I got, and you may not be able to see it on the camera. Let me do that just a little bit. There's a gold card sticking right out of it, right there. Well, that card expands that memory bank to something like 12,000 patches, more than I will ever touch. I've already filled up 2 banks of 32 with sounds that I'm interested in, and that's before I've even gotten into customizing. And then, of course, it included 100 banks of 32 of sounds that are, or patches that are just available freely. And so, yeah, that's been really kind of exciting. One, like I said, it was a long time since I actually heard it sing for itself. And that matters. That mattered a lot. I didn't realize that. But I think it's actually going to be a very, very complimentary thing. I'm pretty excited about it.
I got to tell you, I think that as much as like I formerly hated the DX7, but since Seth sent me his TX7 very kindly, I've become a real fan. And having a DX7 in the studio does add a certain credential. Dude, I remember when they were $300. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And the crazy thing about a DX7 is they make some great sounds with a lot of high end, and the bass is really good because it's a fucking sine wave.
Yeah.
But there's a beautiful, a really pretty high end. Just so much of the DX7, this shiny thing that you can get in there and you can filter it, or you can put a phaser or a flanger or whatever, or chorusing. It's such a, it's a nice synth.
Well, I took one extra step on this because it is a monosynth. I ran its output directly into an Alesis Quadriverb and hung that thing right off the back as though it was native to the synth. First thing I did was add a stereo enhancer, take that mono signal and just widen it. And dude, that is by itself. If that were an effect in the original DX7, then it would have easily stomped everybody.
Good stuff. If anybody else has any DX7 stories, please jump in. No one.
I have
no stories because I've never owned one, but I had the Casio.
All right,
CZ.
hold on. Ivan, thanks. Give me a sec. I'm just going to throw this to Rob, then I'm going to throw it back to you. Back in the days when we used to put up hands, but please.
Yeah, I don't have a DX7, but I have two FB01s. And the FB01s are little mini versions of the DX7. So you can load those up with all of the DX7 and the DX patches quite well. But you got to program it all yourself in DX. You can't do much with the FB01. It's kind of a cheap, clunky box that replicates a TX or a DX. But I do have the DS8, and the DS8 was the poor competitor by Korg to the DX7, and it's a pretty good tool. It's in the same genre of electronics as the DW6000. Some of the componentry is the same, not much, but some of it is. And I was going to lend my DS8 to Vulture Culture this last week. And I thought I better turn it on and see if I repaired it, because I couldn't remember if I'd repaired it or not. And I turned it on and it gave me tone. And then the more I played up and down the keyboard range, the more crazier it got. And I thought, this sounds freaking awesome, but it's actually broken. So I might sample it before I fix it. It's probably got some capacitors, dry solder joints, dead capacitors, and some chips that have probably got shorts on them. But I'm gonna have to.
Be also really interesting to see what would happen if you start loading sounds in there and see what happens to those sounds.
Yeah, I have the hypercard that Vulture Culture demoed on one of his features, and he kind of took me into buying it to try it out, and that's exactly what I want to try is plugging that in and seeing what disturbance comes out of it.
I like it.
Good thoughts.
Very Aphex Twin. Hold on, Alex, I see your hand. Ivan, I just want to throw it to you. What were your thoughts on the DX7?
Thoughts? I don't own one. Always been intimidated by the idea of programming a DX7 because they kind of, aren't good at that. I do have a Op6 though, which will run the DX7 patches directly, and so whenever I need DX7 sound, the Op6 is standing in for it, and it does have that bright shininess that the DX7 does have.
It's all about the bright shininess.
Yeah, I mean, because it's something it's good at. But lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my Pro One, and that doesn't do bright and shiny the same way.
Ah, I didn't know you had a Pro One.
Yeah, I've got the desktop.
Good for you.
I like it. It's weird, and you know, it was one of my firsts.
Good for you.
Totally fun. And then I posted the link on the on Discord. I found a VST that attempts to be a crystallizer,
Oh yeah.
and it is actually pretty nice.
Okay, if you could dig that up, throw that in the chat.
I
and
will. I will.
Thank you. I might share that with the humans. Thank you very much. Alex, do you have DX7 stories?
Not with an actual DX7. I had fun messing around with Dext, but I kind of hate the interface. But if you have an actual DX7, this editor I put in chat, I don't know how well it works for DX7, but it works well for the Blofeld. And I imagine it's easier to edit than Dext.
Good to know. Thank you. I've been told, I don't know how true this is, but I've been told that Dext sounds exactly the same as a DX7. And they did all this yodeling inside Dext to make sure that if you play the sound, because once you create a sound on Dext, you can use it as a soft synth, or you can sysx it over to your DX7 and play it on your DX7, which is fucking amazing. And they will sound identical. My God, that's crazy. And like, isn't the DX7 like only 8-bit or something like that? And why do they call it 7? It's got 6 oscillators, 16 voice, so what do they call it 7? I'm going to throw this to the resonator, and if you don't have the answer to those, make it up. Make it entertaining. Go.
So I have to work out the 7 voice operator thing. Never having had one, only looked at the little block diagrams on the front panel. Okay, well that's the whole explanation. They used up one operator voice to show on the front panel what operator architecture algorithm you're using. So that's why it's not 8, it's 7. I'm lying entirely. That is not true. I hope that doesn't make it anywhere permanent. Ivan, you said Pro One desktop. What is it? Our analog version? What is it? Before I spout off on anything Pro One related. You're muted though. Sure. The reason I'm asking is it's my favorite monosynth, but
Yeah, it is fully analog.
but it's a desktop emulation, recreation of it by. Oh, I see where we're going. Okay, right.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah. No, I got you. It's a wonderful synth, and it can do not the kind of bright shiny you're talking about with a DX7, but since we're talking about FM synthesis, in the modulation matrix, you can frequency modulate oscillator A with B and get actual FM basses, which do have that kind of at least glossiness and grittiness of analog FM, not the style of DX Rhodes, bright pianos because you're not playing chords, but it does have its own capabilities of at least simplifying, like talking about FM with operators and algorithms and like how these things chain together is quirky and specific to the machine. But when you're just talking about FM modulating one oscillator with one other, and they're both sine waves, you start understanding and getting a real appreciation for what FM does and how its chaos is beautiful. So Pro One, good machine for that. Totally cool.
Thank you. And it's really interesting how, Alex, I'll throw it to you in one moment. It's interesting how when you listen to the difference between analog FM and digital FM, very fascinating. Really, really fascinating. Alex, tell me where your mind is at.
I think the converters on the first DX7 are 12 bits, and on the Mark II it's 16 bits. But the internal wavetable of a sine wave they use is 8-bit, I think.
Wow.
That's what I remember from 10 years of internet deep diving.
Wow. I didn't even know it was a wavetable. So thank you. I'm learning a lot here. Does anybody else want to talk about the Joyous DX7? Oh, wait. Hold on. Somebody's just sent me a whole bunch of stuff here. The 7 in the DX7 does not have publicly documented specific naming. Yamaha, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's so many words here. I'm just going to copy and paste this because I'm a lazy bastard. There you go. Well, wrong place, wrong time. Thank you, Brett, for bringing that to our attention. Oh, no, look, you did. Isn't that crazy? Oh, no, you did everywhere. Thank you. Does anybody else want to talk about the DX7, or do we want to hear? Oh, I hear that. Go, Razi.
Yeah, I just wanted to verbally summarize that. It doesn't have an official meaning according to Yamaha themselves. It is just a number, and that's fun.
Well, it is,
and completely unsatisfying,
isn't it? But that's the thing about Yamaha is everything they do is fun. They invented the jet ski just cause. Yeah, they don't do anything that's not fun. Everything Yamaha does, motorbikes for dirt trail, fun. Synthesizers, fun. It's all about fun. Isn't that wonderful? Alex, talk to me.
Well, I think among synthesizers, the recent ones are a bit square, but they sound nice.
Yeah, not so fun. So on that, I want to talk to the Robinator about videos and shit. Or whatever it is you were going to talk about, Rob.
Yeah, I just want to. I hope I'm coming through okay. I moved because I think I've got some lag. Can you just confirm if I'm coming through okay, Carl?
You've got a bit of distortion going on. It does sound a little bit like you're going down Neo's mouth in the Matrix.
Awesome.
But I'd love. But that was shot in Australia, so that's okay.
All right. So yeah, just a quick snippet. I attended Unreal Fest in Orlando the other week, and I went to all of the audio and musician sessions that they had, and met some really interesting people. And one of them was a YouTube streamer called the Audio Programmer. And so if you like to geek out on software engineering and MIDI and CC and building your own VST, check out the Audio Programmer on YouTube. We had a really good chat about how to pull VSTs into Unreal Game Engine. And Unreal Game Engine has its own modular synthesis engine now called Meta Sounds. So if you're into programming and you like to do graphics stuff, interactive graphics, check out Unreal Engine. It's free, download it for free, and download some projects for Meta Sounds. You can build modular synths in that very easily. There's also a gentleman who's developing an Unreal DAW. It's called Undaw. So you can load that off GitLab and check that out. Basically, the Epic Games community don't really want to go down the VST route because of licensing issues. So they're trying to go with Clap, which is the common library equivalent of VST. And I attended a session with the makers of Meta Sound and Deadmous, the DJ from Canada, the one that wears the big mouse hat on his head when he DJs. He's been programming with Unreal for about 7 years now, and I was watching him on Twitch during COVID program his entire stage lighting system with Unreal, laying out all of the DMX and MIDI inside of the engine. It was very fascinating, and he's now programming all of his graphics for real-time shows using Unreal. And if you like cats, and I know some of us do like cats, if you go onto Steam, he produced a very funny game called Mr. Meowington's Adventures. It's his cat in 3D dancing to synths, and you can interact with it. So it's good to know. So I'm going down the rabbit hole with Unreal Engine more and more. I enjoyed experimenting with Niagara with Carl's last track that we did a video for, the Eagle. And I've used the sequencer for Thor's helmet for Ice Planet 9000. And I'm already programming in Unreal to Deadmous and Aaron, the creator of Meta Sounds. I've decided to go down a little route that Carl got me interested in from his last concert, where he got a barcode and everyone to scan the barcode and use their phones to play audio and interact in the actual concert. So Unreal is now supporting ARM processors, so all mobile devices and tablets. So I'm going to go down the route of developing control surfaces for MIDI, soft synths, hardware synths, using a tablet interface. And I'm thinking about how we can make mobile phones, you know, at live venues, more interactive devices for the crowd. So think about the phone strobing different colors to the beat. Think about using the touch screen like a Chaos Pad to control an LFO or a graphic on the main stage display. Looking for ideas, and this is a creative opportunity, I think, for you guys to throw some interesting ideas out there now. You know, any crazy ideas that you've ever thought of, let's hear them. How could you make something like Coachella or Burning Man much more interactive? And what would work well for you for a live performance? I'm interested.
So floor's open, Brett. What do you think?
So combining with kind of combining or building on the idea with, you know, the barcodes and whatnot. Well, what if all the attendants, maybe all the attendants who want to participate in this, maybe gave you their cell phone numbers or something like that, and then you could at specific points in time call out, you know, this many audience members, and they do this at that moment, and then you can kind of time it as well. I don't know, just a brainstorm.
Cool. Raz?
Here's what I'd do. In the same way that you can get at a large concert, the bracelets that have pixel addressable RGB and the main controller that puts washes of large motion over a huge audience. We've got our smaller audiences, and use something like an app clip or the equivalent on Android that's doesn't need to go to the app store and download the thing. It's just a stub that's ephemeral and only operates while you've scanned the app clip, either barcode or NFC, I guess. Some way of triggering that. So it's not a download, it's just a quick thing. And the phone becomes an addressable pixel. You use the main controller up on the stage to orient the pixel location, so the phone individual nodes know where they are, and you can do addressable pixel, either video in the audience or color washes or motion graphic kind of things like that. That would be probably a cool Unreal excelling at that kind of thing anyway. But yeah, easy to download, so it's app clips. Individual nodes get oriented relative to the stage, and then they're addressable pixels with a video thing. So even 5 phones would be an interesting, you know, kind of phenomenon from the point of view of the stage. Maybe you can get your audience members to turn them around so that the people behind them can see what the video is doing, or have everybody in the audience agree, you know, to flip them around so that audience point of view can see them. Yeah, that's what I do.
I love it. I love it. Alex, what are your thoughts?
This isn't really original of the idea of mine, but I saw an Aphex Twin live concert where he filmed the audience and superimposed his face about each on the faces of each audience member, which I thought was really cool. Maybe you could also distort it, and I don't know.
That's really cool. I see now with Unreal Engine out of the box in 5.6, they're now supporting MetaHuman, and MetaHuman, you just hold the phone up to your face and you can talk or sing. And you've probably seen some of the Yeti and Bigfoot streams lately. That's all. There's an AI app that does that, but Unreal Engine can do it as well very easily. And Snoop Dogg, with one of his latest videos, most of it was shot in Unreal as a kind of like a DaVinci Resolve production environment. And he did all of his animations with superimposing graphics and aging people, and all of that was done in Unreal. Good ideas, Razi. I really think that's really cool, and Brett, because Unreal has Quartz, and Quartz is a scheduling tool. So if you preload it with a MIDI track that you're going to perform to, and you're going to play that MIDI track as well, it will schedule all of the events based on your local timing on your network with your device to ping, to go off right at the right time. And if you think about where the position of the audience members are, it's going to be out by 3 or 4 milliseconds. So you've got to come up with strategies for timing or delay, or you might want to make it a solid bar on off for a couple of notes, a couple of quarter notes, so it's less obvious, or have it just flicker. So it's not clear the start and the end point of the beat. It's just happening. And Razi, the idea of having the audience see it all happening, that's where you want your camera on the stage looking at the audience and projecting that onto the big screen, so everyone can see themselves interacting with that clip. That's really cool. Thanks. This has been very helpful.
Lovely ideas, Razi. What are you thinking?
Just to follow up on MetaHuman, it's come, well, it started out being pretty amazing as far as synthetic human faces that look photorealistic and don't dip into the uncanny valley, and they're out of it now. They're just good looking faces, or whatever you want to do, distorted faces that are, and here's the kicker, off the shelf, webcam controllable, without tracking dots, without sophisticated training of any training really. Three-dimensional head. I think with 2 cameras you can get full torso to head. I'm not exactly sure. New information that I was also just sort of looking into. But if you wanted to have a character tracked, MetaHuman is an easy way to go with it, that aren't glitchy necessarily. They can be very naturalistic, and with a inexpensive free software and inexpensive webcam sort of rig, you can have a face tracked avatar to do stuff with. Pretty powerful. I don't know what the weird and exciting uses are of it, but as far as like telepresence, you don't want to look dumb. They've got that part figured out.
This is amazing. Thank you. Does anybody else want to jump in this? Do we want to change the subject? We could even no one else. We could stream right on over to MTV TV. Today's kind of, everybody's got a lot on, I think. Should we do a raid? Let's do a raid. Okay, that's a yes for raid. Okay, cool. We are going to head over to MTV TV, which is here in a moment. Reminder, so this is Angelspit's Twitch. Every week we're here, and it's amazing. Angelspit's Patreon, if you're bored, there it is. And if you want some horrifying music to scare everyone, Angelspit's new album is kickstarting. Razi, thank you so much for helping out. You're a bloody rock star for this.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for having the show, and it's good to see everybody.
It is, and thank you all. So we're now going to go over to MTV TV. So if you're watching on some other thing, like YouTube, that's where it is. Diana, if you're there, let's set a rate off. Failing that, I will set that rate off. Boom. Yeah. So thanks for being a part of it. And next week in Indeed, I should say. In Dead, wrong turn of words. And let me know, hey, look, it's Damage. Go Damage. Damage is over on MTV TV. Yeah. So many things that I don't understand.